Welcome to the Primary 5 literacy video for term 2. I'm going to be giving you some tips today how to practice literacy at home, looking at our spelling words and also writing and reading. So we're going to be looking at words this term that have different prefixes and suffixes. And I've drawn some examples here for you to look at what prefixes and suffixes might be. So prefixes come at the beginning of words, like defrost, nonsense, reply, prediction, and suffixes come to the end of the words. So kindly, basically, enclosure, action, nervous. Having a closer look at prefixes, prefixes can be added on to different root words. Root words are the words that are in the middle of our word sums here. They belong to word families where we can add prefixes and suffixes onto them, either at the beginning or the end. So we have re as a prefix added onto arrange, making rearrange. Non as a prefix added onto sense, making nonsense. And D as a prefix added onto frost, making defrost. Suffixes, however, are added on to the end. So we start with the root words, such as danger plus an OUS suffix equals dangerous. Depart plus URE equals departure. Act plus ION suffix equals action. Adding prefixes and suffixes can change the meaning of words. Sometimes it can make it mean the opposite meaning, such as adding un or non to the beginning of a word. And sometimes it can change a word from being a noun to an adjective, such as something being dangerous. Spelling can be a little bit trickier when looking at suffixes when you're starting with a root word. Here are some examples. If you start with Mary and add ly suffix on to the end, you need to change the y to an I and then add the ly suffix, making merrily. When you're starting with relate as your root word and you're adding an ion suffix, you drop the e to get relation. When you have words such as furnish as your root word and you're adding a ure suffix, we don't say furnisher, we say furniture, changing the letter totally. A great way of practicing your literacy skills, including spelling and reading, is to look at VCOP. You may have heard of VCOP before, but you might not know what it stands for. It stands for vocabulary, connectives, openers, and punctuation. We have these VCOP pyramids in class that we can use to help us with our writing as well as other displays, but you can find simple versions online on Google Images. These are a tool that provide examples of how to up-level our work by using ambitious words and punctuation. Ambitious vocabulary is a suggestion of words that you can use to make your writing more interesting. The pyramid is organised so that the top is more straightforward words, and as you work your way down, the words get more complex and ambitious that you might use in your writing. Same with connectives. It becomes more advanced as you work your way down. Connectives are added between two clauses at the middle of the words. Openers are added to the beginning of sentences to make your sentence openers more interesting. And different pieces of punctuation can be used throughout our writing. Here are some examples here of what we expect you to use as your writing gets more complex. Here we have an example of how you can use VCOP to help you practice your spelling words. In this example, our spelling word was question. You may want to start with going over the meaning of the words which might involve looking up the meanings using a dictionary or online dictionary using an iPad or another device at home. In this example, we have written a VCOP sentence which says, although he patiently waited to ask his question, afterwards he would be relieved. Although is an example of a good opener. Patiently and relieved are examples of good vocabulary. We also have a comma as an example of good punctuation, and a connective with afterwards in the middle of the sentence too. We have another example of a VCOP sentence here with the word repair. So despite the rain, he cautiously tried to repair the fence which had broken that morning. So we've tried to use an interesting opener by starting with despite. We've got some good vocabulary there by using the word cautiously, and we've also included some punctuation with brackets giving us more information about what had happened. This is an activity that, although helps your children practice their spelling words, they can also develop their writing skills, which will help them in their learning at school. VCOP can also be easily linked to reading as a reading task or just to further develop pupils' vocabulary and literacy skills. You can look in pretty much any book to find examples of vocabulary, connectives, openers, and of course good examples of punctuation. Pupils can go on a VCOP hunt to look for examples of these or even copy down example sentences which contain good examples of vocabulary, use of connectives, examples of different openers to use, and as well as punctuation. And this can really help them develop an understanding of how they can use similar things in their writing. This could also be linked to spelling words. You could then use these and try and put your spelling words in a sentence to create your VCOP sentences if you wish to really put everything together.